Tune in to Exposing Excellence with Roanoke Valley Leaders, a special summer series released every other week on the Dear Business Coach podcast. Join your producer and host, me, Elizabeth Walker, and I sit down with a remarkable Roanoke Valley leader every other week to uncover insights, successes, and strategies for achieving excellence in their field and yours. Don't miss out on these opportunities to learn from local leaders, elevate your own leadership style. Subscribe now and start exposing excellence with us. Welcome to Dear Business Coach, the podcast. My name's Elizabeth, coming to you from the Walker Consulting Works studio. Find one thing to move your business forward today. With conversations, spotlights, interviews, articles, and free resources. Listen, follow, and subscribe on social media, Dear Business Coach pages and groups, Dear Business Coach podcast. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. And don't forget Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. All it takes sometimes is one little thing to move your business forward today. John Lusher, welcome to the Dear Business Coach podcast.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Thanks. Well, we are at the Vinton Downtown Public Library, so we'll have to make sure they get credit for letting us use their free study room. And today we're here to talk about marketing. You are my new friend, my new LinkedIn friend. But specifically, I'd like to read your headline and your bio, if that's okay.
Please do. Absolutely.
And so John Lusher, Chaos Coordinator at the Social Buzz Lab, a strategy-first digital marketing team helping brands, B2B companies, and individuals build buzz on social media for over 15 years, fueled by coffee and a love of marketing. Here in Roanoke.
All very true.
Well, that's how I first started getting conversations together with you, was following your coffee postings.
I post a lot about coffee. I always have. It's something that I've always loved. It's a hobby. It's something that I really enjoy. And what's funny about the coffee posts is how many people relate to them. And whether they're coffee drinkers or not, and the non-coffee drinkers especially like to comment because they want to provide their thoughts of, no, I'd rather have tea, or I'd rather have, iced coffee, or whatever the case may be. So it spurs engagement and conversations.
Great. Well, you have some photography skills, I think, because I see your posts when the weather's nice, the grass is green, there's sunshine in a deck, and so sometimes I look for your posts because it's a nice thing to look
at. It's a nice aesthetic every once in a while. Well, thank you. I love photography. I love messing around with my phone and some other devices from a standpoint of creating content and just seeing what is around us. And that's one of the advantages of working from a home office, is you can take a break, go out on the deck, go out in the yard, get some vitamin D, and take some pictures of the trees and the clouds and just kind of unwind a little bit.
It helps.
It does. Yes, it does. Especially in the marketing industry, because it's a never-ending, what's the right way to say it? A never-ending journey that is constantly changing. So it's something that occasionally you need to step back and just hit pause and take a break from it, because it changes quickly. It's ever evolving, and it's something that's a challenge to stay on top of.
Well, I'm going to ask you for some tips.
Okay.
And I'm here to, well, let's see. Let me keep focused. That's why my notebook's here. How did you get into marketing, John?
Oh, great question. Spent a lot of years in direct selling, B2B type sales, in the computer networking, telephone system arena. And while I enjoyed that, I had always been drawn to marketing and advertising. Many years ago, did some stint in radio advertising. So was kind of always plugged into that a little bit. And as social media was in its true infancy, Facebook had just started. Back then, it was called Twitter. Twitter had just started. And I saw a need for people to understand how to use these social media platforms. Myself and a colleague of mine, we started basically a meetup group in Roanoke many years ago. And the whole purpose of the meetup group was to get together, typically on a weekly basis, and we would talk about social media, how to use social media. When Facebook first started, it was just for individuals. There were no Facebook business pages, no Facebook groups. So people were using their profiles to talk about their business. A real estate agent, as an example, would have a Facebook profile that they shared their listings on. Well, it didn't take Facebook too long to realize, well, we should have a business aspect to the platform. That's when Facebook business pages started. And it kind of changed the game, so to speak, from a social media standpoint and using it for business. So our meetup group would work and talk with and have the weekly meetings and talks and presentations about social media, how to use it for business. And I was still in sales at that time, so I was doing this as more kind of a side gig, so to speak, or a hobby. And it just kind of started blossoming from there. I ended up going to work in a marketing capacity for a restoration company, the type of people that you call whenever you have a pipe burst in your house or you have wind damage or something, and worked with them for a few years, handling their marketing as well as other restoration companies' marketing campaigns. And in doing so, just kept attracting more and more people that needed help. And I think as social media was truly brand new at that point, people were struggling to learn how to use it. When I was working with the restoration companies, a lot of them didn't even have a website at that point. I mean, they came from the era of having an ad in the phone book, in the yellow pages, of getting referrals from insurance agents and adjusters. And they all of a sudden realized, okay, we need to market ourselves in different, newer ways. That's where that came in, setting up websites, working with them to develop a marketing plan, to where as a company, you look at these new avenues to market yourself. A prime example that we always talked about in the restoration industry is if you had something happen in your home in the middle of the night. Let's say it's a fire, let's say it's the pipes bursting, let's say it's the home being damaged somehow. You're standing out on the sidewalk watching the fire department or the crews take care of what's going on with your home. You don't have a phone book with you. You have a cell phone handy, and you're going to call the last company that you saw their commercial or that you interacted with or that you knew about. And it's kind of driving it home to where as social media started growing and becoming more popular and more used by not only individuals but businesses, more and more businesses saw the need to have a vibrant presence on social media. And that's how I kind of got into it full time, so to speak, having my own consulting firm and then eventually buying the Social Buzz Lab from my friend and colleague, Patsy Stewart, who started the Social Buzz Lab. And it's the way that we approach it is helping businesses build that buzz for their brand online. And that can take so many different ways, so many different paths, websites, social media content, social media accounts for the businesses that either they run or we help them.
Are you an executive or team leader looking to enhance your public speaking skills and leadership qualities? Join me, Elizabeth Walker, for a transformative full-day seminar on October 18th, 2024 at the beautiful Jefferson Center in downtown Roanoke, Virginia. As the host and producer of the Dear Business Coach podcast, I am thrilled to present a unique event featuring international comedian Clayton Fletcher. In his Power of Laughter masterclass, Clayton will share invaluable insights on what comedians know that all business people should know. Discover how to infuse humor and wit into your business presentation strategies and captivate and connect with your audience in a meaningful way. Don't miss out on this exclusive opportunity to learn from a seasoned stand-up comedian and apply his expertise to your professional journey. Join us on October 18th for a day of laughter, learning, and growth. Secure your spot. Contact me, Elizabeth Walker. You can reach me through email. That's dearbusinesscoachpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find a link to buy tickets, reserve your seats, and invite your team. That's going to be at dearbusinesscoachpodcast.com. Look for the Power of Laughter Masterclass with Clayton Fletcher ad. Contact me today to reserve your seats and elevate your professional development. Talk to you soon.
So it started out just handling marketing and websites, and it's kind of snowballed into everything that it is now.
Well, probably your experience in direct sales and marketing gave you an immediate personal insight in messaging to customer messaging.
Exactly.
And that's interesting to me, and especially you got started with something that I would think of as a service-based kind of business,
Exactly.
right? You have to physically be there. It's actual manual labor, but the service call is where your marketing helps.
Exactly. And for each business, and it's funny because over the years I've worked with a lot of different types of businesses, and our agency has worked with businesses from the small mom and pop type company to an entrepreneur to brands that are e-commerce brands that sell products online. And it's funny because to this day there are still people that have hesitation for their brand or their business of not knowing exactly how they can use it. Because for that same example that you just used, they see companies that sell an actual product that you hold using social media. They see a service-based business that has, let's say it's a HVAC company that send people out to either replace or repair something that's in your home. And some companies, some small businesses or entrepreneurs still struggle to see, okay, how can I use it for what I do? Because I'm different. One of the clients that we work with, this is how he describes himself, he's a fractional CFO. I'm sorry, CEO, not CFO, a fractional CEO. So he works with multiple companies, typically filling in a gap where they may be between CEOs. Maybe the other person left suddenly or retired, and they're going through the process of trying to find a new CEO. He steps in and works with them in the interim. Well, there's something that is hard to quantify because it's not something that you hold in your hand like a product. It's not a service-based business like the HVAC mechanic coming out to your home, but it's a service he provides. So working with him to maintain his digital presence, showing what sets him apart, is something that whenever I got into this, I would never think I would work with that kind of an individual that's a fractional CEO. But it just goes to show that no matter what the business is, you can effectively use marketing and digital media. You just have to know how to take that first step and get started.
Yes. So I'm familiar with how LinkedIn is a professional profile, and I'm familiar with how Facebook is a good way to get broad marketing messaging out. And I said to you before that I personally liken Facebook to a phone book, right? And that is how I look up phone numbers and addresses and reviews, not just because it comes up first.
Right.
And I also have experience with, businesses that, as you say, it's surprising to think somebody that does not have a website. But for example, one of my favorite restaurants, they don't even bother with the website. They just want you to look at the menu on their Facebook.
Exactly. It's easier.
So I have a question for you about if you are a fractional executive, for example, we're talking about personal branding, and it is still a place. My professional presence on LinkedIn or Facebook is a place where I do want to start conversations with people that will eventually lead to some kind of an appointment booking, a conversation.
Absolutely.
Calling all two-wheel enthusiasts, get ready to rev up your earbuds with Pin the Gas Podcast, the ultimate motorcycle racing podcast, hosted by Chris Simcoe, one of our very own excellent leaders here in Roanoke, Virginia. With expert analysis, behind-the-scenes stories, and exclusive writer interviews, Pin the Gas Podcast delivers the adrenaline rush of the racetrack straight to your ears. Whether you're a diehard fan or a curious newcomer, you'll gain insights that will transform how you watch and understand motorcycle racing. On your favorite podcast app, join Simcoe as he takes you on a high-speed journey through the world of motorcycle racing. Pin the Gas Podcast. So I see Facebook as kind of the phone book, and I see LinkedIn as a professional profile, and I know you can help me with both. Recently, I heard that Facebook is not
dead. and I guess I'm still struggling with that myself. Right. Because I think I really enjoy LinkedIn, but I still believe there is a value to Facebook. But I feel like as a professional, am I going to be watering down my image by being present on Facebook?
Great question.
Am I going to be, catering to too broad of an audience if I'm on Facebook?
Right.
But back to I heard Facebook is not dead. Somebody said that in a webinar that I was listening to, because it's a question that comes up, that it's for an older generation.
That's true.
And
predominantly.
I'm not sure about that.
Well, and it's a tough question. And I think each individual, each professional, each business, they have to look at it as what makes the most sense for their target audience, their target market. As an example, or to tag off of what you said, yes, traditionally, the Facebook audience trends to be older. They're more in the 40, 45 plus age range. Having said that, I know teenagers, people that are in their early 20s that have Facebook accounts. It's like almost everybody on the planet has a Facebook account. Having said that, it gets back to how active are they on the platform as far as using it. For brands and for professionals, a lot of times, depending upon their target audience and who they're trying to reach, we will recommend that they do have a Facebook presence, but go into it knowing a couple of things.
Okay.
One, you have to be very specific who you target on Facebook. So if you're a professional, such as yourself, or if you're a brand, small business, and you decide to start a Facebook page, not your personal account, but a Facebook page, know that you're going to have to invest advertising dollars for that page to do anything.
Okay.
It's just the nature of the beast, especially today on Facebook. It doesn't mean that you won't gain a following and have some engagement on the page. But if you want to consistently keep growing the page, consistently keep engaging and growing the engagement with your fans, I don't want to say the only way to do it is by advertising, but it has to be a key component of your Facebook strategy. Is okay, I've got a Facebook page, I need to devote a certain amount of a monthly budget to promote my page, to promote my content. Because with Facebook being such a large social platform with so many people on there, it gets harder and harder for your content to be seen because there's so much content. So with Facebook, it's a deciding point for a business or for a professional. Does it water down your brand? No, it does not. Is it an investment of time and money? Yes.
Okay.
And that's where a lot of people or a lot of brands are not investing as much into Facebook. The reason being is since Microsoft bought LinkedIn, it has really worked to help improve LinkedIn as a social platform for professionals. It has pushed to make LinkedIn more than what it used to be, which was like online resume or how to search for jobs. You can still do all of that very well on LinkedIn, but they've pushed it to where it has become a true player, so to speak, as far as social platforms. For professionals especially, it's where I recommend the professionals spend probably 95% of the time because it makes the most sense. And typically professionals are looking to attract other professionals and people that would typically be on LinkedIn as a platform. So if you're looking at, okay, I have limited amount of time, a limited budget, where should I go as a professional? It's not even a hard question. It's LinkedIn. It doesn't mean that you ignore Facebook, but just know going into it with Facebook that it's a much slower climb to build up an audience and to retain an audience on Facebook.
Okay, so now can you actually run a campaign for me, or do I need to know what my content is going to look like first? Do I need to have
yes,
some experience?
Well, yes and yes, and yes and no, I guess. Yes, we can run the campaigns for you. Part of the discovery process that we go through is we sit down and say, okay, here are the platforms that you're going to be on, whether that's LinkedIn and Facebook, or just LinkedIn or just Facebook, whatever the case may be. Then we talk about, okay, what kind of content will best fit into your target audience? And then what type of content are you comfortable producing yourself, such as this podcast, or maybe written content, or maybe videos or visual content, or maybe all of the above? And where can we help supplement on the creation of that content? Then we look at actually developing a campaign based upon the content that you create or that we help you create. And it really depends on a lot of different factors with our clients. Is one, how much time and expertise and experience do they have creating their own content? And the big question about that is how much time do they have? And how much are they willing to invest if they hire us to not only run campaigns, but also create content? So we can run the campaigns with your existing content, or we can help you create content and then run campaigns using that content as well.
Okay, so if I could call you, I could visit your LinkedIn page, I could start a conversation. Is that how you want me to get in touch with you?
Yeah, the best way to find out more about myself and the Social Buzz Lab is connect with me on LinkedIn. It's just John Lusher. It's very easy to find. It's the handsome bald guy. Or you can visit our website, which is webuildbuzz.com, spelled with two Z's on the end. But either way, it's a way to connect with myself and with our agency. And our team, we take that approach of, okay, let's sit down kind of like we're sitting here now and have a conversation. What are you doing now? And what is working? What is not working? What are you looking to partner with us to do or outsource to our agency to do versus what are you going to do? And we've been at this long enough that we've gone through multiple economic cycles. And there are times where companies, large and small, will want to do everything in-house. They have a marketing team, they have a marketing department, they may rely on an agency such as ourselves for bits and pieces of the puzzle, of the marketing puzzle, so to speak, but they want most of it in-house. Other times, it's the exact opposite. They don't want the overhead of a marketing team from an employee standpoint. Or they have people leave in the marketing team, and instead of replacing them, and again, bringing on that burden of salary and insurance and all of that, they find it more cost effective to outsource. So we have literally worked with companies from one employee up to thousands of employees. And we come in and fit in where we're needed. If you come to us and say, okay, we just need you to run our digital media ad campaigns. We've got everything else handled. Great. Let's sit down, let's map out a strategy, and let's get going. If you come to us and say, I need you to do everything, I'm great at being in front of customers and potential customers, but all of this stuff I hate to deal with. Great. We've got it. So it really depends on where people need us to fit into their business plan and their marketing plan.
Yeah, and so you, going back to how do I want to use it for me? And let's say I'm a fractional executive, and I know that I want to build some content. Maybe I've started playing around with some content, and you're going to help me start to become a leader in my segment, right? So I have a start of a niche already. I recognize that LinkedIn is important, social media is important. I have a profile, I'm posting once a week or something like that. Pretty comfortable with it, but I'm just not getting the engagement that I want. And I'm not really sure if, who am I talking to? Who's seeing it?
Good point.
So what do you do with me first to find out, if, how much help do I need?
Well, and that's a great question. And when we start having these conversations with clients, potential clients, we kind of do a deep dive behind the scenes of your social presence. We would ask you to say, get us logged in or provide us the login information to your LinkedIn profile or to your LinkedIn business page or to whatever platform we're talking about, but in this case, LinkedIn. And we kind of go in and do a deep dive. We look at all of the content that you've shared, and we choose a period of time, be it 3 months, 6 months, a year, a month, whatever the case may be. Typically, it's like a 3 to 6 month window, because that gives us a good overview through multiple different months. But we look at all of the content that you've shared during that time and see what has worked and what has not. Because as people on social media, as professionals or as content creators, we say, okay, this is going to be great. It's funny, it's engaging, everybody's going to love it, and it gets 2 likes in their comments.
Mm-hmm.
We've all seen that. We've all had that experience. So we look at what content you created and shared, and the engagement and the impressions, and we go deeper into the analytics to see who is engaging with it. One of the great things about LinkedIn, not just LinkedIn as far as your own profile, but if you do the LinkedIn newsletter, to where you're sending that out on a regular basis, the analytics for that newsletter, as an example, it shows you number of subscribers, impressions, article reads, any click-throughs if you have a link in the newsletter, but it also breaks it down and it shows you if you have 300 subscribers, as an example, it breaks it down and it shows you the percentage of CEO, the percentage of sales manager that sees it, the percentage of a marketing director that sees it. So you can literally break down that newsletter and say, okay, these are the people seeing my content. Well, on your personal profile and on the content you share on your personal profile, it doesn't go quite as deep, but it does give you some of that depth of analytics to show you who is seeing and interacting with your content. So we take that and say, okay, Elizabeth, based upon our review of what you've done over the last 6 months, these are the types of pieces of content that resonate very well with your audience. So we need to do more of these instantly. But we also look and say, okay, let's say that over the past 6 months, you haven't posted any video at all. That's going to be the conversation. Is LinkedIn is pushing video just like every other social network. They're pushing video in the feed more and more. So let's try doing some, short form videos. You could do a 1 or a 2 minute video promoting this podcast and what we're talking about. Quick, easy, doesn't have to be, professionally edited, just something that taps into the way that the social platform is promoting video. So we look at all of the details and all of the data of what you've been posting and come back with those recommendations and say, okay, based upon our recommendations, you need to post 1 video a week, 2 articles a week, maybe a long form article once a month. And then the conversation shifts into, okay, how much of that do you want to produce yourself? How much of that do you want us to produce? Now, obviously, when I say we produce, we work with you on the content, the ideas. We just do the, kind of the grunt work, so to speak, of sitting down, writing the posts, sketching out and getting you to speak to the camera to film the video. We do the behind the scenes piece of it. For some people, I've got a client now that he does multiple different things, but he works with businesses actually from a standpoint of exit planning. So you own a business, you've been owning this business for years and you're thinking about retiring or selling, but do you have a plan in place to do that? Well, that's what he does. He comes in, works with businesses to get that exit planning done. Well, for him, we've done his website. We work with him on his newsletter, which he does some of. We publish his newsletter on LinkedIn. We publish blog posts for him, keep up his YouTube channel. So he is great at churning out the content. I mean, he can sit down for a few hours on the weekend and write half a dozen blog posts easily. I mean, it just spills out of him. I admire him that he can do that. But the thing is he does that and then hands it off to us. His work is done as far as creating the content. We take it, make it look pretty, attach images, video, whatever the case may be. We have a publication schedule so that he knows it publishes on his website and then as a LinkedIn newsletter. So he's on LinkedIn at that point in time so that he can respond to comments. Because he said, I want to do that myself. I said, great. It's easier for you to do it because they're your contacts. But that's how we work with him. So it really depends on what the professional or the business needs us to do.
All right, thanks so much for checking out this episode. This is actually part 1 of my interview with John Lusher, Chaos Coordinator at the Social Buzz Lab. So stay tuned for part 2. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name's Elizabeth, coming to you from the Walker Consulting Work Studio in Floyd, Virginia. This has been an episode of Dear Business Coach.